First, can you start off and say your name?
My name is Juan Vargas.
And what is the district that you're running for?
I'm running for the 52nd Congressional District here in California.
Perfect. So the very first question that I'm going to ask you is question number one. High housing costs and a lack of affordable housing options are significant concerns for people living in your district. What policies would you focus on to address those concerns?
Well, one of the things we have to do is get more housing stock. I mean, that's very important. So the federal government can do a whole bunch of things there. It can help people, first-time buyers with the down payment. We should do that. We should also loosen up the rules a little bit around loaning to people when they don't have the full 20%, 10% for this down payment. I think that that's important. Obviously, we got in trouble back in the 2008 because you had no down payment at all and you were getting these loans where people, frankly, couldn't afford them. But that's not the case anymore, and properties are not going down, so I think we should loosen it up. We're able to do that through some of the banks, frankly, that we have, and I think we should do it. Also, though, we have to help with infrastructure. There's no doubt about that. You know, the freeways and everything else that are here are clogged. If we don't help with some of those things, you can't build more housing. So infrastructure, transit in particular, roads. So there's a lot of things we can do. We're starting to do that, and hopefully we'll get it done.
Perfect. Question number two is California's education ranks vary depending on the metric used and the location. What do you consider a top concern, and how would you address it?
Well, one of the things I think is frankly, we don't spend enough on education. I mean, I take a look at what the independent schools spend on a child, per child basis versus the education experience that some kid gets in the public schools, and there's such a dramatic difference. So we have to spend more money, teachers, aides, all these things. And it's interesting because a lot of the people that complain that we spend too much money send their kids to private school, where they're spending a whole lot of money. They're spending $40,000 per child. We're spending over on the public schools, 8, 10, 12,000. Literally, you can't compete. So I think we have to spend more money, spend it wisely, and that means taxing people that are wealthy. I mean, people hate to see that, but the reality is people that are very wealthy pay very little in taxes. We should tax them more to up our educational system. By the way, that helps everybody. You want an educated populace. I mean, it's sad to see some of the crazy things that people say now that are so stupid. I mean, it really is crazy. That's because of our educational system. And people think that, education is not valuable. It's super valuable in a democracy like our own.
Question number three is what specific policies do you support for comprehensive immigration reform to address the ongoing migrant crisis?
I believe in comprehensive immigration reform. I believe the 12 million people that have been here a long time, that have never committed any crimes, that have children here, that work here, they all should have a legalized status. They all should be able to stay. Now, if there's criminals, if there are people that have committed have problems, no, and then we don't want those people here. But most of the people here are not like that. Regularize their status, allow them to become permanent residents, and then earn their citizenship. I think that's the right way to go. And then have a future flow of people that coming in that can come in legally to match what we need for our industry. For example, our labor participation rate is going down. And why is that? Because we're getting older, people like myself, and we're not replacing ourselves with younger people. So in a society like ours, we need people to come and work. And who comes? Who shows up? These young people that want to work. Let them work. Let's create a system where we say, we know that we need these workers, damn it. Let's let them work. And we don't. We let them in, and then we say, you can't work. It's really ridiculous. We've tried to change this for a long time. It's one of the things I'm very passionate about because this country was built on immigration. It was built on immigrant labor. And you know what? They grow up and they do great things, and that's what we need, a process that's humane and process that respects our history.
Question number four. The sewage crisis near the border has been going on for several years, with beaches shut down due to water contamination, and there are concerns about toxic chemicals in the air. Imperial Beach's mayor is calling on Governor Newsom to join the state legislature and asking the White House to declare the cross-border sewage pollution crisis a national emergency. What role do you believe the federal government should play in addressing the sewage crisis and its impact on U.S. border communities?
Well, I think this is an emergency, and I think that we should declare an emergency. The way it normally works is the state has to say this is an emergency, and then the federal government comes in and says, okay, we agree with the state, and it becomes an emergency, and all of a sudden you can do things that you normally can't. The president seldom, under his own powers, calls an emergency. They do under really big things like the pandemic or 9/11, but state issues like this, the state has to call it first, and the state should. This is an emergency. People are getting sick. We need to spend money right now and do things outside of what we normally do. For example, a lot of the reason why people are getting sick is because the sewer is going on the top of the land, in a sense, and not in a pipe. We have pipes down there. We can put them in the pipes and put them way out 3.5 miles out in the ocean. We can't do that because we wouldn't be able to treat all of it, so it wouldn't meet the permit requirement for the discharge that we have. But this is an emergency. Under an emergency, you might be able to do that. Say, okay, we can't treat it, but this sewage is going to go to the ocean anyway. Would you rather have it on the beaches and smell it all the way and give you a headache, or would you rather put it out 3.5 miles? Put it out 3.5 miles. I think an emergency will allow you to do that.
And the final question that we have for you today is, why should people vote for you?
I think the reason that people should vote for me is I've done a good job. I mean, I think I've worked very hard, responsibly. People have supported me in the past. I expect that they will again. I try very hard. I mean, I'm very passionate about my job. I do things, I think, the right way. Never been a scandal around me. You get all these politicians do stupid things. I don't. I work hard for the people I represent. And that's why I think, once again, they'll send me back to Washington with a very high percentage rate. I do better normally than the polls would say for a Democrat because, again, I work hard, and a lot of people that are independents, even some Republicans, vote for me. So, again, I'd appreciate their support. I've always appreciated their support. I honor their support, and I think they should send me back. I've done a good job, and, again, I cherish my work, and I hope they do support me.
Awesome.